Hello and welcome to the next video of my Worlds 2022 preview series where we're going to cover EDG, Edward Gaming from the LPL. Down in the description you're going to find 3 links: Discord, Twitter, and YouTube memberships. Discord, self-explanatory pretty much. Join the Discord. We BS about the games as they go on. It's pretty active. We have a predictions channel if you want to predict the games. For Worlds, we're going to do a pick'ems as well. And I'm going to also do another thing that's going to be interesting. So join the Discord if you would like to, have fun with the activities we have planned. Twitter is very self-explanatory. Follow me on there so I can spread my wings on social media. And lastly, YouTube memberships. There's 2 levels, $3 and $10. $3 is just to support me to try and keep this channel alive. Bills got to be paid, so money's got to be made, right? And if money can't be made here, it's got to be made elsewhere, and this dies. Pretty simple as that. $10 is for extra content. In addition to what I'm already doing, I do my predictions there for people that might use it for esports gambling or betting or things like that. I do my predictions on the members only videos because I don't want to be used by people like, nah. And then also I have fantasy football, NFL content there as well. If you're interested in American football related things, that is there. Now for EDG, this is not the same exact team as last year. We have a different coach. Maokai is the coach. He was there last year, but he was not the head coach. I think Ken Zhu is the head coach. Maokai, so I guess he's been around. He knows what it takes to be at an event like this, but he has no experience calling the shots, where Ken Zhu now is RNG's coach, which we'll get into on another video. Worlds 2019, the 3 seed of the LPL made it to semifinals. 2020, it was Suning, and they would lose in the finals. And lastly, last year, 2021, I think it was RNG, and they were out in quarterfinals. So, needless to say, the 3rd seed tends to get out of groups. We like to say, oh, the LPL, the team's going to choke this or that. I look back at it, and it seems like it's an every other year affair with one of the top seeds. Well, the 1 seed, actually, I think specifically. And this year is not that year. So, if you want to play into that, just keep in mind that actually, based on the last 6 years, that would be a year where they get out of groups. Sorry to upset some people, but we got to be consistent with what we want to, do. So, EDG, good team, obviously. Defending world champions, that goes without saying, right? They went on a really good run throughout playoffs and regional qualifiers. This meta allows them to do very well. I believe they have a top 5 player in maybe 3-4 roles on this team. Definitely going into the event, they have, I would say, 3 or 4 players in the top 5 in their role for sure, let alone all the other teams that are not here. But Flandre, 419 KDA, 806 CS per minute, 62.1 KP, 21.3 damage share, 9 champions at 25 games. Flandre, solid. He's solid. I don't think he ever really showed up in a big way in playoffs. Like, I didn't feel like, oh, Flandre is really dominating a series here against, like, the competitive teams, the teams towards the top of the ladder. But he also wasn't inting games away. Some of his score lines were kind of ugly, but he took on a secondary role when he would play Sejuani, Ornn, Aatrox. I wish he would kind of work that Vladimir out of his system. I know he loves to play Vladimir, but it's not working. Outside of that, though, 419 KDA is more than sufficient, and an 8 CS per minute is average, so that's solid. Obviously, the LPL, I believe, is the strongest region in the world, so their playoffs are going to be tough. Only one international trip, and it was last year winning Worlds. He's 24 years old. I was surprised by that. Played a long time on Snake and lost. Last year, their run was 13-8. He had an under 2 KDA, 932 CS per minute, though, 56.8 KP. So last year's meta really fit him well, allowed him to put up some big numbers in top lane. Died a lot, but got ahead in lane quite a bit. If you see here, obviously, if you watch my other videos, I have at 15 minutes solo kills and stuff like that. That is not the case on here, simply because those stats aren't available. Damage per minute was, but I did not write it down. And, like I always say, I do not redo these videos because then it ends up scuffed and I end up cleaning up my take. So frankly, I screwed up. So that's a thing. Jungle is definitely the weakest role of this team. And it's not necessarily JJ's fault. JJ did have issues during summer, caused Junjia to play a few games. And then they committed to Junjia, and I thought Junjia was actually better for what the team needed at the time. Now, when they got into playoffs, they continued to play. They went back to JJ, and then they went to Junjia, and then they went back to JJ. And in the end, just like I was talking about Damwon, this sort of stuff is not going to bode well if you want to win a championship. Just one second. So, yeah, so 6-man rosters, I don't like that at all. You know, people always bring up Fnatic, and it's like, okay, well, pick something else. And it's not like, oh, I'm denying that they worked that time and they got deep into the tournament, but the fact of the matter is, how many times can you find a 6-man roster in the history of League that didn't even get to the playoffs, that didn't even get to Worlds? Like, this sort of crap doesn't really work. You can't split scrims at this level. I just really don't think you can do that and expect to succeed. Especially when scrims are going to be extremely important in NA, because you're only going to have scrims against the Worlds teams, because not many Worlds teams are going to want to scrim LCS teams for good reason. So JJ 258 CS 258 KDA 472 CS per minute 80.9 KP. If you haven't watched my videos before, 70 KP is usually standard. 81 pretty much is very good. 4 out of every 5 kills, JJ is involved in some way, shape, or form, and that's huge because he's not farming all that much. 4.72 CS per minute is below where you'd like him to be. Probably at least a half a CS, if not more, per minute behind. But if he's making things happen, that's a big thing. Yesterday I was talking about it when we were talking about CFO. I was like, you know, guy, Gemini really ain't farming that much, and he's really not creating a lot of kills. He might be creating pressure, and you don't end up with a kill when you create pressure. You just push them out of lane, right? But JJ executes and gets a job done. So that's a big deal. 12.1 damage share, pretty standard. 6 champions in 19 games. Very standard champion pool. Nothing to really see here. Worlds 2021, first place. Like I said, 13-8. He had a 239 KDA, 519 CS per minute, 78 KP. Very similar stats actually to his playoff run, in that his CS per minute is a little lower than what we expect. I mean, last year would have been higher, 5.5 to 6. But it was lower than that, but his KP nearly 80% once again. So JJ is more of a facilitator. He's going to get the job done. He's going to create. He's going to involve himself. And frankly, that in this meta is what you need. So I think EDG have a chance to follow suit with other 3 seeds in LPL and actually make a serious run at this, given their history last year. Scout in mid, 434 KDA, 836 CS per minute, 63.5 KP. I will say that CS is kind of lower than you'd like. I'd expect it to be 8.5 or higher. I don't think he looked all that great in playoffs. I feel like he was a little shaky like Flandre. The KDA might be good above 4, don't get me wrong, but I felt like the solo lanes really kind of took a back seat to what Viper did. I mean, Viper pretty much carried this team throughout playoffs. In some series, Scout just didn't show up. Like, if you look at the regional qualifier stats, his stats suck. 25-3 damage share, 8 champions in 25 games. Pretty standard stuff out of Scout. Scout is arguably in the top 5 mid laners in the world, definitely top 10. And he's really, this meta hasn't fit him all that much. Worlds 2016, he finished 5th, 8th. So got out and went out in quarters. Worlds 2017 was out in groups. 2018 made it through play-ins, made it through groups, and was out in quarters. 2021 would win Worlds, so he's 29-22 in his career at international events. 340 KDA, 871 CS per minute, 70.1 KP. Those stats are more indicative of what he's capable of. 8.7 CS per minute, above 8.5. Very solid, especially at international events. That's a big deal. And then 70.1 KP also following suit. So he gets involved and he farms pretty well for a mid laner. So that's a big deal. 29-22 at international events as well. So he's a winner. More often than not, he wins. you know, he's a good player. Really, really good player. This team is a bunch of really good players. And that's not even, you could even take away last year's World's performance, and if they don't win, these stats are still indicative of a team that's very good. In bot lane, we have Viper. Going into this split, in my top 5, I had Viper on the list. I don't remember if I put him first or not. I could have. Theoretically, I might have. Between Viper, Ruler, and Jackie Love right now, we have the 3 ADCs above everybody else. I think those 3 are a step above. And then it's kind of, you know, we get into the nitty-gritty of Hope and Guma and Upset, and we just go down the list, right, and start mixing it together. But Gala. But Viper is clearly in that upper echelon. 524 KDA, 10.26 CS per minute, 72.5 KP, 34.9 damage share, 6 champions in 25 games. Viper is cracked. This meta, bot lane focused, EDG can really go far. Viper's stats in the playoffs were insane. Over 10 CS per minute against some of the best AD carries in the world. Playing 2 series against Jackie Love. 2 series against Gala. Like, and these laning numbers are really, really, really good. So the fact is, Viper is probably going to run over a lot of teams in groups. And that's what I'm saying. Like, some people are like, oh, EDG this, you know, EDG might not be. No, this meta fits EDG. If they want to let Viper carry, he can carry them pretty far. Worlds 2019 with Griffin and the LCK was out in quarters, and last year won. So he's 20-12 in his career at international events. 383 KDA, 926 CS per minute, 68.4 KP. You know, these 2 Worlds events he did, you know, not do as well, right? Hopefully this next step, this meta fits him more than last year's did in 2019 when he was a rookie, or yeah, 2019 when he was a rookie on a team that was cracked. Viper is outstanding. He's an outstanding player. I'm really interested to see how he does with this team, how far he can take them. I think that he can take them very far. I really do. This team, you know, right now it's kind of JDG and top and Gen G. But I think that EDG, I had them 4th in the power rankings, and they're probably still there, the 4th best team going into Worlds solidly. Mako at support alongside Viper, 541 KDA, 78.8 KP, 7 champions of 25 games. In regional qualifiers, pulled out a Nautilus and a Braum, which was, you know, not normal in this meta. Very good KDA, very good KP, gets things done. 4 out of every 5 kills, Mako's involved, keeps Viper alive. Pretty self-explanatory. He's been around the block. He won MSI in 2015, would go to Worlds that year and go out in quarters. Next year, 2016, out in quarters. 2017, out in groups. 2018, with Scout, would go through play-ins and then group stage and then be out in quarters. 2021 would finally get that Worlds championship. He's 45-32 at international events, the only player on this team to play at MSI. 276 KDA, 74.6 KP. I mean, Mako is definitely in the conversation as top 5 supports going into this tournament. He's been playing very well on the Enchanters. Just a very good player. Very good player. This team is very good. I can't say enough. I've probably said it 100 times this video. It's just a fact of the matter. Like, what are you going to say bad about this team? The solo lanes have been solid. They haven't been overly great. But this meta fits bot lane to a glove. Like, Viper is going to really take advantage of some teams in this tournament. Quarterfinals, if they get matched up against top or they get matched up against Gen G, maybe they're out in quarters. I mean, that's entirely possible, right? But the fact is, I think group stage, if they're not against Gen G, if they're in a group with like Damwon, or yeah, like if they're in a group with Damwon or DRX, excuse me, and with the LEC 1 seed or LCS 1 seed, they're winning their group. I think they beat G2. I really do. I think they run over G2. So that's it for this video. You're going to notice around me eventually that there's going to be a playlist. It's going to have all the Worlds 2022 videos so far on it. Eventually all of them will be on there, of course, all 24 teams, plus whatever extra content I do. Do the links in the description: Twitter, Discord, YouTube memberships. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you don't want to do any of that. Just hit the subscribe button because you're already on the video. Like it, share it. Comment down below, though. It's what you think EDG is capable of at this tournament. And thank you for watching.